Hey there, I hope you're well. I want to explain how to do the Outsiders vocabulary assignment. So, this is a slideshow. There are 8 slides. 6 of them include vocabulary that you need to do. The first one involves the instructions, the second one is the list of the words, and then we dive into the slides themselves. So, I want to show you what to do on a slide like this. So here we've got the vocabulary word in the middle. And then you have the same format that we had on our paper version of this. You've got a definition up here. Over here, you need to copy and paste an image that you think represents the word. Here you need to go to thesaurus.com and find synonyms and antonyms. Synonyms, what it is; antonyms, what it's not. Here, you're going to go find the word in context from the book itself, and then you need to make up your own. So let's see how this is done. Okay, so before we go any further, let's look at the resources that the assignment has. So I'm going to go back into Google Classroom. Here's my Outsiders Vocabulary Chapter 1 through 4. So you've opened your document, but realize that you also have a link to vocabulary.com. You've got a link to thesaurus.com, and here you have a link to the full text of the book itself. And your assignment this week is to read chapter 1 in addition. So going back into the presentation, here I have, in the first slide, I've provided a definition for you. And just about every slide, I've done one of these things. So we're going to go to the second one, and we're going to look at incredulous. So for the first box, I'm going to go into vocabulary.com, and I'm going to type in incredulous. And as I type, you see it starts to come up. Okay, so there it is. All right, so here's the word incredulous.
Incredulous.
Or
incredulous. Incredulous.
Okay, we got that out of the way. So let's look at the big text. If you're incredulous, that means that you can't or won't believe something. If you tell people about those aliens you met the other night, they'll probably give you an incredulous look, like they don't believe you. Okay, now I'm going to read the little text. Incredulous is the opposite of credulous, which means believing too easily. Both are words that come from the Latin word credere, which means to believe. Incredulous is stronger than skeptical. If you're incredulous of something, you refuse to believe it. But if you're skeptical, you're doubtful, but you haven't ruled it out completely. If someone insists that your best friend is actually an underworld spy, you'll probably look at them with incredulous anger. So now we go down to our definition. Here it is. Not disposed or willing to believe. Unbelieving. That's pretty clear. So when I go up here, I'm going to type in done. Okay, now I need to find a word that, or an image that represents it. So I'm going to open a new tab, and I'm just going to type in incredulous. Okay, and I get it here. There's another definition, and I'm going to click on images, and I get all sorts of different ones. So I'm looking at one that looks like I really don't believe this. And I kind of like this one here, right? Like his jaw has dropped to the floor. So I'm going to right click and make a copy of this. I'm just going to copy image, and then I'm going to go back into my document itself, and I'm going to right click and paste. And what I'll see is I have this huge image that I now have to resize. So I'm going to bring it down to size a little bit there, and then I'm going to take that and drag it up into this box, and then I have my image for incredulous, and I can move that over or resize it if I want. Right now I'm fine with it. So the synonyms, I now have to go into thesaurus.com. So I'm going to go here, and I'm going to type in incredulous. Okay, so I've got a bunch of them. The darker the letter is, the more it's like, that's what it means. So here, incredulous, like really not believing. Okay, so I'm going to choose, I'm not skeptical. I'm going to go with unconvinced, and I'll do skeptical. So unconvinced and skeptical. Okay, so I go here and I go back and I say, okay, now here I gave it to you, which is believing, convinced, certainly. Okay, so the next thing I need to do is I need to find the sentence in context in the text. So this is where I'm going to go into the Outsiders itself. and I've got this big document here. And I have a couple ways that I can do this. So one of them is in this box, it tells me the page that I'm looking for. So I can go to page 22, but going a little faster, I can also do Control F, and that gives me a search pane. Okay, so that just found me the word. I check and it looks, and wouldn't you know, it's on page 22. Okay, so here's the sentence. She gave him an incredulous look, and then she threw the Coke in his face. Okay, so I'm going to highlight that and copy it. And then I'm going to go back into my presentation here, and I'm going to paste it. Okay, and just like that, I've got that. So the last thing I need to do is I need to write my own sentence. I need to make this up. I can't copy it from somewhere else, and it can't be too similar to the sentence in context. So something about incredulous. So I could say, look, if I go through all of this and you still copy the sentence from somewhere else, I will be incredulous because I feel like I've explained on so many levels that it has to be yours. So I'm going to use this as my sentence. Make sure I start with a capital. When the student plagiarized sentences for this assignment, Mr. Newman was incredulous. And now here's where I explain, okay, because I need to make sure that it is beyond a reasonable doubt that you understand incredulous. He could not believe that the student still thought plagiarism was okay. All right. So now I've got a sentence where there's no doubt that it means incredulous. If I didn't have this part here, so let's say that part went away, and it was just when the student plagiarized sentences for this assignment, Mr. Newman was incredulous. I could take out incredulous. I could put surprised. Mr. Newman was hungry. Mr. Newman was whatever it is. Like, I have to show everything that shows what it means, and that's why I add that extra detail. So do all of these things. You'll do a great job, and go for it. Oh, and one more thing. In a couple weeks here, we're going to have a quiz on this that I think will be a week from Monday. So if you do your sentences well, you will be able to use those same sentences on the quiz. But again, make sure when I grade this and get it back to you that you revise your sentences and fix them as hint. They will make up the majority of your quiz score.